water is a multi-billion-dollar business. And it's less than $1. And we all buy it, just like coffee. So I'm here to help each and every one of you. Why? Because I've lived it. These crazy things, I have lived. All right? Now, the last thing I want to quickly go over, which we're going to start the series tomorrow, and each one's going to be a different series on a different time, is identity theft. How many people are coming through the border today? How many people have come through in the last 9 months? 600,000 people. Don't believe me? Go look it up. Go fact check me right now. 600,000 people. Now, you ask yourself, all these people are coming to the country. Okay, so how do they get benefits? How are they getting all that stuff the government says, oh, their school's paid for, their clothing's paid for, their housing's paid for, they're getting flown in tiers. But my question is, why are they paying coyotes $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to come to the country? You know what they're paying for? They're paying for your information. They're paying for your social security number. They're paying for your date of birth. They're paying for your name, your address, your phone number. They're paying for you. So how do you stop it? Well, if you do not have an identity theft service, or if you got a service that they monitor your stuff, but then they charge you more, nothing. But if you have a service like ours, so we have private investigators, and we'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes, okay? For whatever it takes, for as long as it takes, to get you back to pre-theft status, back to pre-breach status, okay? Freaking a couple of social medias just got done with huge breaches they didn't even tell you about. Why? Because it's social media. They don't want to tell you. But how many people are on social media? I mean, seriously, how many people are on social media? All that information gone. So what do you got to do? So everybody's like, well, they can just have my identity. They can have my credit, you know. Great. You know what they're going to do with it? They're going to run your credit up. They're going to ruin your credit. They're going to sell your house. They're going to sell your car. And if they do an illegal crime or illegal activity, rape somebody, somebody gets in trouble, they're using your name, you go to jail. And how are you going to prove it's not you? Dateline did a huge segment on identity theft and over in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm over in Quincy. I'm only 2 hours from St. Louis. There are people sitting in jail today that can't prove whether or not they're innocent or guilty. So they're sitting in jail because somebody else is running around using their name. But the thing about it is, all the DA wants and all the cops want, they want the person with the numbers. Remember, you're a number. In the United States, you're a number. I had a buddy of mine, no joke, when I was in the Marine Corps. He went and got a Vaseline jar. He went over to a tattoo place, and on the back of his neck, they put the barcode. They tattooed the Vaseline's barcode. Now, you guys can think whatever you want, and this really did happen. Because in the United States, a new child, newborns, okay, are already wanted for murder. Think about that for a minute. Newborns already have debt. Newborn babies already have cars and houses. Newborns, why? Because hospitals were breached. Those social security numbers were stolen. Those kids now have identity. I did not know what my social security was until I was in the Marine Corps being yelled at and have to put it on every little thing I got until it was freaking burned into my head at the age of 17 years old. When I got my car and stuff, I kept having to look at my social security number. I didn't know what it was. My mom and dad weren't looking at stuff like that. How many deceased people are not deceased? How many family members that you had a family member die, but they're still living somewhere else because their information was stolen? I mean, it's one thing for elections and all the dead people to vote. It's another that your information's being used to buy houses, cars, groceries, food. And you're right, you may not know because they don't want to give another $2,000 to $5,000 for somebody else's information. Now, you know how many times you can get a new social security number? And when your social security number gets stolen, you know how many times you can get a new social security number? Zilch. Zilch. Nada. You cannot get your social security number ever again. You're only allowed one social security number the rest of your life. So what do? You got to monitor. You got to fix it. Who's monitoring your kids' information? You got to have them monitored. You got to have them fixed. So on that one, you go to idguy.org. idguy.org. I as in India, D as in Delta, G as in Golf, U as in Utopia, Y as in Yankee, .org. idguy.org. And you'll get the information. We'll go over everything in detail tomorrow, and we'll start getting into details on stuff like that. Because like I said, truckers are different, I get that. Military is different, I get that. Families are different, I get that. But this is what I do. This is who we are. And we got to let each other know we matter. We got to start taking care of each other. We got to start letting people know what is going on out there. Okay? Now, the last thing I want to show everybody, because tomorrow we're going to be doing a segment on it. Let me get rid of this. Okay? Is you can go to oilguy.info. Oilguy.info. Okay, I got to spray that. Hold on. Or OILGUY.info. Boy, blue don't want to come off very easy, does it? Go to oilguy.info. Take a look at it, or go to AMZ, A, Alpha, Mike, Zebra, okay, OIL, AMSOIL, with a Z, not an S, but a Z, .info, INFO. I use info and everything because that's what I'm doing. I'm giving information. That's not a sales site. It's me giving information. So go to those sites, okay, and then tomorrow, we will get into it more. Now, let's get into the last thing, and this is not sales. This is just the regular motivational stuff, okay? Like I was telling you guys a little bit ago, why do I put stuff on my social media? I put it to reflect the negativity that's going on in the world. I reflect because whatever is going on in my head, with my PTSD, or, you know, if I'm sad or depressed or something else, why do I do it? Why do I do it? Because I've got to get through a lot of things, because I'm fighting a lot of battles. I know I'm innocent on a lot of stuff, but here's just it. If I put something good about somebody I know, because I want them to feel good about themselves. The more people I make feel good about themselves, the better I feel. Why? I don't care what they say, think, or do. I'm just being honest and open. So on my Facebook page, on the Jeff Jansen part, not the Brian part, but the Jeff Jansen part, every day I make sure I think of my friends and my family and people that matter to me, and I put them on there. Why? It only takes a couple seconds. It takes a couple seconds to let somebody know they matter, that somebody's important. When you're out and about, you say thank you, you say please. My mom and dad have always been that. They've always taught us to be polite. You know, my mom and dad would invite people to Christmases and Thanksgivings and picnics, stuff like that. My family at Christmas time at my grandma's house, everybody's invited. Our church, everybody's invited. We never knew colors or, you know, with somebody's sexuality. We didn't care. All we cared is they showed up. We meet somebody new, we're like, yeah, somebody new. Now everybody else is boring. Let's get the new people in. My family loved to travel, but guess what? When they didn't travel, people traveled to them, which means they're still traveling. It's just people were coming to them and they were talking to them. Now, my family went down to Arizona, and we've been all over the United States. I've been to all 50 states. You know? I've been around the world to more countries than I can shake a stick at. And I love my friends and family, but the thing about it is we need to start talking better about people. We need to start... Everybody's like, well, how do we combat depression and PTSD? Easy, be nice. It doesn't cost money to be nice. It doesn't cost money to be a good parent, to love your children, to hug them every day, to let them know you love them, you care about them. I don't care if somebody wants to accuse me or whatever else. I love my child. I miss my child. I love my child. I don't care what they say. I love my family. I love my nephews. But you want to know something? When you read to them, that is teaching them that you love them. When you pray with them, that's teaching them that you love them. When you hold them and you give them a hug and you're teaching them. When you get them around your friends who are of every creed, culture, race, and you're like, this is who this is. You may not grew up differently, but you know what? Now you can actually teach your kids not to be scared or racist or sexist or anything like that, because you're teaching them morals and values. But you're teaching them the morals and values of being a human being, a decent human being, and not judging somebody based on the color of skin, but on the character and of what's in their heart. And so when, like I was telling everybody, and I did it more, and I'll give it again, what is a bottom feeder? Bottom feeders are those people, they sit at the bottom, they live in a square. I've had so many bottom feeders in my life, and then they're bad people. Bottom feeders are bad people. Okay? They're the ones, they eat your scraps. They love you as you're moving up, but guess what? They got an alternative motive. They're making sure not to get too close, but just enough so they get all their freebies. They get all that publicity with you. But when all of a sudden you hit that high point and you start falling down, They're the first to kick you when you fall. They're the first to spit on you, slam you. They're the ones that tolerate you. They don't celebrate you. They're the ones that, oh, I knew this person did this, and oh, I knew that. You know, it's the same ones in the bars or the nightclubs whenever you close up. And I closed up one to open up another, and it's funny because I had all these people like, oh, well, you know, I know that he spiked drinks, and I know that he did this, and oh, I know somebody, and I know somebody, and I know somebody. Good. They know so many people, but they don't know anybody. They use it as an excuse. They're bottom feeders. They're the same ones that, oh, Diane said this, and Christy said that, and they sit in the dance classes, they sit over there, and they got to gossip, chip, 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 chip. Thing about it is, remember this, if you're listening to that, and you walk away, now they're chirping about you. Why? Because they tolerate you. They don't celebrate you. People that celebrate you, I hit a bad streak. You know, my life flashed before my eyes several times. Not just from military, but from a situation that happened. And I didn't know how much I meant to people until I was at my worst. And technically I still am. But I had people that I never heard from come out of the woodwork to help me. That tell me, hey, it's okay, we know that's not you. We know better. And by the way, we're going to go to bat for you. Just sit right there, we'll handle it now. I'm like, I couldn't handle it. I was done. I was just sitting there. And they said, I'll handle it. They said, we'll take care of you now. You need something, you let us know. We're in your corner. And it wasn't just one or two. And I was like, what did I do? Well, you raised money. You talked good. You let people know they matter. Unlike everybody else in your family, you're a loudmouth, which I know I am. But you're positive. I got comedians that I love with my entire heart because they came to my rescue and because they have done functions and stuff for me. I ask people to do things, and they volunteered their time to come in to help others with cancer. I donated my nightclubs and stuff. Now, do I say this because I want you guys to love me and know what I... No. But when you're kind to people, I'm telling you, because we need more people out there doing nice things. To do things and never ask a thank you in return. I don't want freaking thank yous. A lot of people know. You know, and I'll tell you now, I did save a couple lives. I did pull people out of the Mississippi River. I did help people get out of burning cars. Firefighters know I was there, and then I left before the media ever got there. I did different things. I don't care. And you know what? Those families know who I am. Others do not know who I am. I literally disappeared because it felt good to help. I didn't just sit around. That's why I talk about the 22 and saying, quit just doing the sit-ups. Quit just doing the push-ups. Because you know how you can actually start making a difference? Yes, you're doing awareness. But how hard is it when military is military and you call out your friends, hey, buddy, I want you to know as I'm doing these push-ups, I love you. Hey, as I want you to know, I remember my first sergeant. Start giving people's names. We always say, don't drop names. Don't be a name dropper. It's wrong. We need to change it. We need to start dropping names. But in a positive way. Start telling people they matter. Start dropping the names and why they matter, and who they matter, who they are, and where they're from, and how great they are. Don't do it because you're trying to get something out of it. Do it because you love them. Do it because you may be the only person that said something nice to them today. You may be the only person that's ever said anything nice to them, that's ever told them that they're beautiful or handsome. Don't worry about the color of their skin or their sexuality. Don't worry about the stupid things that mean nothing. Because those are the same people. I was told a long time ago, and it's an old saying. A brother came to me and needed my help because he was being persecuted. But I hid, and I didn't want to help him. Another friend came to me and said, hey, can you help me get out of this bind? Can you just give me a little support? I just need a little bit of help. And I was like, nah, I don't believe it. Another person came to me and said, hey, I just need a little something here and here, and can you help me? And I turned them away. And everybody that came to me, I had another excuse. And I had an excuse why I couldn't help them, why I couldn't help them. And guess what? Eventually they're all gone. All of a sudden they came after me. They came after me, and I looked around like, my friends will help me. My friends will help me. And then I learned I was the bottom feeder. I learned that I turned everybody away. Now, this is just a story, not me personally. But you keep pushing people away, and you keep judging them for their sex, for their faith, for their religion. You keep judging them because if they're a Republican or a Democrat or a right or a left, you keep judging them. And you keep throwing them away. Guess what? You're going to be there someday when you need these people. And you turn around. And there's nobody defending your rights. There's nobody telling you, hey, we're here for you. You don't have that military. You know what happens when you're kind that I'm learning right now, and I hate to be conceited, and I know I'm sounding like this right now, is you have a military behind you. You have an entire power group that will go to the ends of the world for you, because you know what? You were there for them when they needed you the most. And some of them, you were just there for them just to support them without even understanding what they're going through, and you were there for them. And now all of a sudden something happens to you, because it happened to me. It's still happening. And you know what? Those people are right there. And I'm looking around like, why? I've broken down many, many times. A big old strong badass Marine like me has broken down because when I needed the people the most, they were there. And you know why? Because my mom and dad taught me to always do for others before you do for yourself. Always be the person that eats last to make sure everybody else gets food. Make sure you are in bed last to make sure that everybody else is comfortable and not sick. Make sure that when you go in somewhere, you go first to make sure there's no harm or harassment. You know what happened when I got in the Marine Corps? Those things I learned from my mom and dad were leadership. In the Marine Corps, what do? You go first. But as you're leading everybody, you know what you do? You walk your happy ass all the way to the back to make sure, because you can only go as fast as your slowest person. You can only go as fast as your slowest person. Period. Because you know what? You all come in, you all go out. Which means you can only go as fast as that slowest person behind you. And if you have to, you take his ruck, you take his molly, you put it on there, you take everything, you just don't touch his weapon, you take him. If you have to, get freaking fireman's carry his ass and get him out of there. Because you all go in together, you all come out together. And when you start learning these basic leadership traits, corporal's course, whatever else, you think that close order drill is because, oh, we want to look good? No, it's teaching leadership. It's teaching how to lead, teaching how to be precise, precision, okay? If you think that doesn't apply to combat or does not apply to business, you're wrong. It all applies. You have to be precise, precision. You have to make up your mind. You have to make a decision at a quick of the fly. You got to be able to go, go, go. You got to have ADD like I do, or ADHD. You got to be able to think 3 different directions and still be able to get the job done. You need to be able to go to bed last and get up early. You need to be able to go in and get everybody fed and then eat yourself. And there's nothing left, that's okay. Because everybody else got to eat. You need to make sure that you're checking on those that are sick, making sure that you calm and okay. Make sure they're older. You know, guess what? They've been around. They've been helping so many other people. It's time for you to call them to make sure they're okay. To give them the time of day. Why do you think we always take our kids to the nursing homes and to the vets homes and stuff like that? It's because, you know what? They were there for us. Now we need to be there for them, but we still got to do work. But guess what? We can take a little time to call our friends and family. It doesn't take too much to send out a couple text messages. I've had people like, I don't want to hear from text message. Good. You know what? At least you know I text message you. At least you know that I thought of you. At least you know that I'm there. Just by saying a simple hi to somebody means you're there. How many people did you go down on Facebook today and say hi to? It's social media. I get it, right? Nobody cares. Okay, nobody. You know what, something? But now we're learning so many young men and women and young girls and boys are on there and they're being influenced by things like Instagram and everything else. So which means they're paying attention, which means if you say something, then they're paying attention. And if you say something positive, they're going to pay attention to you. I've got so many friends. I've lost so many friends, whether it's to cancer, old age, accidents, diseases. You know, I've got so many people I lost, and I wish I could have that one more moment with them. And it started years ago. You know, everybody thinks that death started with me, with my mom. It didn't. Death started me with a dog. Maybe that should be the name of my new book that I write. Death started with me due to a dog. I was 5 years old. My mom had me come into the living room. My grandma and grandpa had a dog named Mitzi. I never knew any other dog. My grandma and grandpa Jansen, they had a dog named Sammy. But my mom called me in. And the first love of a child's life, besides their mom and their dad, besides their sisters and brothers, is that family pet. And the family pet was my grandma and grandpa's dog. My mom sat me down, and told me that Mitzi died. Cried my eyes out. It was the hardest thing I dealt with. The next time I dealt with death had to do with my mom dying. And my dad had to tell me that my mom died. She died in a hospital. But I would do anything for one more moment, or one more opportunity to tell her I love her. So how come we can't tell our friends and family that right now? I would give anything, and I know my friends would too. I just had several of my friends lose their family members now, and they would do anything for one more moment. But we don't think like that, do we? We think that, oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and keep attacking or do something stupid, you know what? Or let's go ahead and live in our box. God didn't put us on this earth to live in a freaking box. We're supposed to not be comfortable. That is life. And you want to know something? When people are not comfortable and they go and do something that they're not comfortable with, they're happier. You know, after my mom died, then my grandpa's died. Both of them. One of my good friends, Jeremy Fletcher, died of cancer, and I still mention his name all the time because he will live forever as long as I'm alive. His memory will live on. He died of bone cancer. I know Jay misses him every day. I know my friends miss him. Why do you think I'm so big with making sure you have your wills and power of attorney done? Because these people mattered, and they died because of incidents. I had people die in wrecks that I knew. I've witnessed my friends commit suicide right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do about it because I couldn't get there in time. I had other friends I find out, I talked to them one day, and the next day they're dead, and I was one of the last ones to talk to them because they went home and hung themselves. And they did it because they're going through bad divorces or legal issues. And there was nobody who could do anything because they were out of money. Because they just kept getting attacked and attacked because, oh, we've got a conviction, let's go after them. But people didn't even look that they were innocent. But, oh, they're dead now, so who cares, right? I do. And I still care about each and every one of you. I still care about people. Even when people come after me, it's easier for me to help others. I'll get through my situation because I can help others get through their situations. And I can do a good job at it. When I find out that some of my friends, I had a buddy of mine, one of my best friends in the entire world, still alive, by the way, but a person died right in front of him because he was trying to help them, and they died right in front of him. It broke my heart because I knew how much I know how much pain and suffering he's going through, and I know he puts on a good show, and I love him with my entire heart, and I just want to reach out and give him a hug and tell him, hey, look, it's going to be okay. It wasn't your fault, but he's like me and everybody else. We blame ourselves for what goes on because we can't help everybody, but we don't always realize that. You can't save the world, but you know what? You can save one person. And the reason why I tell everybody this stuff, if you can make a difference in one person's life, you'll never know it. But guess what? If you're kind every day, if you do something every day and ask nothing in return, one day you will die. It's the fact. But by doing all that, you will know that somewhere you made a difference in somebody's life. You just don't know about it. But by being kind, by doing one great thing, it's like the butterfly effect. You can't help but let that kindness spread. You may have made somebody a little bit happier. And I'll end with this story because I use this story quite a bit. And believe it or not, it actually reminds me of a friend of mine. And I miss her terribly to this day. The story goes like this. A young girl, a sophomore in high school, was bullied every day. She had abusive parents that abused her, that talked bad about her every day. She walked to school every day. She did everything she could. She was a straight A student. She had no friends because she didn't want anybody knowing that her family were on drugs, that they were abusive, that she was beaten. She was a disgrace. She was told she was ugly, would never amount to anything. She went to school every day, and one day something snapped in her head. Every day she was going to school, there was a young boy that was watching her, a little bit older than she was, who cared about her. And he let her know that he cared about her. He let her know that she mattered, that she was important. But at least he wanted to let her know that. But he was scared. He was terrified. Because, you know,